Hey everyone, Mike here today with some impressions here on Everspace 2. As you can see, we are in the early access build. However, I'm recording this, December 2022, and the game did get its major update, and in their roadmap, they say basically we're on the way to version 1.0, which should be early 2023. So by the time this video comes out, we'll probably be pretty close to the actual launch. But having said that, yeah, this game is kind of at its final stage, at least for now. They'll probably continue supporting it. It's hard to say without looking into it too much. But anyways, here we are. We're at our home base for now. There's a couple things we can do, but let's just go ahead and leave and get some stuff done. So I'm pretty early in the game. I finished a tutorial, and then that's kind of where we're at. I've not done a whole lot beyond that just yet. And so we'll show a little bit of that off, kind of go through some of the different mechanics and whatnot that they have in this game. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty cool. It's an open world space sim. You can kind of do whatever. It does have a vague kind of guided story, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So it does give you a sense of direction, despite being a fairly open, freeform game. But yeah. Other than that, I don't really have too much else to add. I don't know. So this is the first time I've been in this system, so I guess there's a lot of missiles and stuff that I have to dodge, so we'll take care of those missile silos. And then, oh, there's ships that just got deployed here. We'll do that. So you can see there's a little leading cursor that you can use to kind of figure out, where you should be aiming for. I've also got different weapons here that I can switch between. So I got 2 primary weapons as well as 2 secondaries, though I only have 1 secondary equipped at the moment. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty straightforward. 6 degrees of freedom, so I can roll around when needed. I can go up and down, left and right. There's also a bit of a boosting option as well if you want to do that. And those you don't tend to use them as much if you're just fighting ships and stuff. They do get useful kind of later on. I should have used the little boost option here. Close up our distance, get rid of these guys. I see that there's a lot of static defenses also attacking me, so let's try and deal with that. Yep, those big missiles sure do a lot of damage. So let's get rid of these turrets. So the turrets are doing a lot of immediate damage. And then we'll deal with the missile launchers here. There we go. Alright, so this system here should be pretty free. So we'll be able to kind of roam around, take a look at what there is, and then loot whatever's useful. Yeah, like I said, this is very much an open world, free roaming game. You can do whatever the heck you want at any time. There's not a whole lot else to it. And so having kind of this free open world of a bunch of stuff to do is pretty cool. It's definitely different. Like these containers here. It wasn't necessarily something highlighted that I could do, but because I came close to the space and I noticed that, like, we got all this stuff that we can loot, which is really cool. Can I just blow it up? No. We need an energy thing. And I'd have to look around to find one. Yeah, sometimes you will get to certain zones that I've noticed where they'll tell you, oh, there's maybe something here, right? There's a secret cache or something, and so you'll at least get that hint. But like in the case here, there's really nothing telling you that, oh yeah, you could do this. So that's kind of cool. And that's kind of been the experience so far. It's really this like vague hint of what you should do, but you're really on your own as far as the gameplay goes. Now you're restricted as far as where you can go. You know, it's not fully open yet. I can't quite leave the system that I'm in until I presumably enable some of these like teleporters or whatever the heck they want to call them. I'm not too sure. I don't remember the name, but there is something kind of stopping me from just leaving, which is kind of the objective I'm in right now. And then once that's done, it should be free to go. Still some outlaw drones out there that we can deal with. Yeah, just looking around here, I'm not seeing anything too crazy. You know, I could attack this stuff if I want, and that can get me a little bit of extra scrap. I know this ship's getting really close because it's flashing. But yeah, not everything's an enemy either. I think that's worth pointing out. This particular system or area just so happens to have a lot of hostile ships. But that's not always the case. Yeah, I don't know. Controls are pretty simple. Gameplay is being pretty straightforward. This is very much something that I'm finding really well done, really fun, really entertaining, even though I haven't been playing for very long. So there is a bit of a story that's kind of developing. You know, you were following some mining expedition, things happened, you get captured. Eventually, there's other people who are looking for you as well for bad reasons, and so they get they know where you are, basically, so they come and find you from the people who captured you. Basically, it sounds like you've made a lot of enemies, and that's kind of how the game starts. So at the point we're at now, we managed to escape. This was all kind of cutscene stuff. We managed to make our way out. And once we made our way out, this Dax guy came out with us and kind of helped us out as well.
Hey, try running a holo scan to simulate the crash. What do you think I just did? Smart man.
Right. So I guess we're looking in these two directions for the other antennas. Presumably we'll run into them. I guess we'll find out in a bit. Huh. There's actually more loot here as well. Well, may as well loot some of this stuff.
The joints are up for it. You don't have to be a quark mechanic to reattach them.
Oh, we found... Wait, we found one? Oh yeah, it's up there. Alright. So yeah, this Dax guy is helping us out. We had to rescue one of our buddies and kind of put him in a medical stasis chamber thingy, because he ain't doing too good. We don't know if he's going to survive, and so at least this initial part here was to get that generator up and running at this abandoned base. And so that's what we're doing. And now the next stage here is to try and potentially get out of this system. So this is part of the mission here to do that. And, you know, there is, like I said, there is a direction given as far as what you can do or what you should do. But we're also free to do all sorts of other stuff. You know, he's got a list of various resources and materials he'd like to have, and if we're able to bring some of those things up, we'll be able to get all sorts of upgrades. So it's kind of in our interest to actually do a lot of this side stuff and just make our ship better, because while some of these battles so far have looked pretty simple and straightforward, it definitely has gone a little spicy at times. So that's why I'm trying to at least give myself the best chance. So we've lost a little bit of our shield there, a little bit of damage coming into our hull, but it's fine. We'll be okay. We don't need to engage those scouts yet. So yeah, let's go find this iron deposit real quick. Because again, mining is part of most space sims. At least you would imagine it would be. So we'll get a bit of that iron. I was a little far there. Normally if you're closer, you'll get all those iron deposits. So we got an energy sphere dispenser. Let's see what this is all about. And so far I'm not too worried about a lot of those ships. Oops. I didn't want to throw it. We're gonna have to find the socket here. I didn't throw it. Well, okay, it'll still make its way in. Good. Cool, so we're finding new missiles and new guns. That's cool. So yeah, that's kind of what the game's been so far. I've found traders as well, and that's also been interesting. So let's go through. So we can equip a damage limiter. We got corrosion missiles. Got homing missiles. So you'll see each of these weapons have different stats, whether they're kinetic or energy. And so energy will be the blue number that you'll see on a lot of ships. And then the kinetic, in my case, is orange. Or also red, I guess. It winds up being the same. So this prime zapper, it's a coil gun. We get quite a bit more energy, a little bit more kinetic, a bit less range, higher energy consumption, but more energy capacity. And also it bypasses the shield. That's pretty good. It's an obvious upgrade. And then I've also had these two cannons sitting around, so now that I've hit level 3, this is a considerable upgrade. And then these high capacity homing missiles are also a considerable upgrade over my standard homing missiles. So that, and all the rest of the stuff here are all going to be kind of scrap, because none of these are upgrades. Actually, this shield's better. I didn't equip that earlier. So yeah, there's a lot of just stuff kicking around. There's also perks here. This is why I'm getting some of these resources. I can upgrade some of these perks. Some of these are more useful than others. You know, not paying as much to repair and and do hull repairs. That's not too bad. Tractor beam is not too it's not super important. Still upgrade it though. And then the cruise drive. That's not a terrible idea to do that either. Yeah, beyond that, I don't know, we've been going about this for 15 minutes or so, so this gives you a decent idea what this game's all about. There's obviously still a lot of stuff that I could do and explore. You know, you're never, I'd say you're never all 100% complete an area in most instances, because there's just so much you can do in some of these various areas. Just taking a look at those ships when they blow up. Sometimes they have stuff. These mainframe components seem good. Not too sure what that does. So yeah, there's a concept of also various crafting things, but I haven't gotten into that yet. But anyways, here we are. I think we've done what we had to do here. The next planet would be this one, which is the edge of the universe quest that I'm kind of on. So we can actually set it as a waypoint and just go straight there. You know, my ship's in good enough health that I don't see the need to actually go back and repair. And there might be a vendor here as well in this particular system. And if there is, we'll be able to do a repair and stuff. And as you travel, sometimes you'll discover sites like this one. I think I discovered it previously. There seems to be potential random events that show up at times as well. So yeah, there's just a lot of cool things. It seems like a really competent, you know, space sim kind of game. The escape pod is probably a good idea to take a look at. So we can read all sorts of stuff, and yeah.
If you need better tech, there used to be a trader around that area. Calls her shop the Flying Duchess. Maybe worth checking out.
Cool, so we got a shop that we could check out.
It may still even be there.
Yeah, may as well check that out. We'll use the cruise drive to get there quicker, and then go visit this shop and see what's up.
Oh, would you look at that? Customer or outlaw?
Customer, I guess. But can't you be both?
Not here at the Flying Duchess, you can't.
Honest business. Well, that's nice to know. And so, like I mentioned, you can kind of see here in the top right corner, we can go ahead and repair the ship. So certain areas, yeah, there's going to be a vendor who might do that kind of stuff, or a trader. This particular case, she seems like a particularly important person and not just a typical shop. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, crafting, various crafting materials. I'm not too sure, again, what some of these are good for. I don't really have recipes that I can see, so I'm not too sure. Unless this is literally just like, yeah, here's your crafting materials. But you can see some of these that are highlighted in green tell you what they're used for the mission. So it's nice having stuff like that just pop up immediately. The color coding also kind of hints towards, you know, hey, uncommon, common, rare, but like also important. So I guess we can probably sell Yeah, we could sell all this stuff. So if I actually go to shop here, I'll just go ahead and sell all of these things, get myself a bunch of money. Mining equipment, I don't see the need for it. So yeah, there are different interface upgrade things that you can equip to your ship. If you look at here, as far as devices go, when you level up, you can also upgrade your devices and make them better, which seems interesting. The EMP generator doesn't seem particularly useful. This corrosion injector seems like a better warfare device than the one I currently have. The downside is I can't afford it. And I don't know if I can uninstall it. Oh, it doesn't show up as something I could sell though. Yeah, that temporal nano recompensator seems better. Restores 40% of the armor damage taken in the last 12 seconds. Huh, that seems pretty decent actually. We'll keep that. Beyond that... yeah, I think that's about it. Can't think of too much else. So obviously, you got the vendors, you can definitely, you know, buy better stuff if you need to. So far, I think we've been pretty good. Also, some of the materials that you require, you can go out and buy some of those as well. Times. Perks here, well, we're still kind of... oh, actually, I don't have to do this at the base. I can just directly invest. Okay, that's cool. I thought I had to do this from the base, but I can do it from here. So I could make my repairs cheaper now. I got one of those done. And then the next step, need more resources. Cool. And I think that's it. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to do. Gotta go to the marker, or we gotta go to the shipwreck, and then there's a couple missions I've done. Like I said, this is still pretty much at the beginning of the game, so there's still tons to do. If I open the map here, kind of, well, a lot of places we can go, but we're actually kind of limited to these areas so far. So what you've seen so far is the home base, the ruins here, and then this outer rim. But, you know, there's two more areas down here that I went to. Undiscovered site that we'll have to go to eventually. There's one here as well. No mission yet. And potentially more as we explore, but it's hard to say. And so we're kind of limited to just this area for now until we finish the current mission, and I guess that gives us access to the jump gate, which will allow us to go to other regions. Yeah, I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 regions, and then this is the 7th in this system. And then you have a bunch of other systems, so there's definitely a lot of places. It's not a very small game necessarily. Planet-wise, I don't know if you go to surfaces of planets in this thing. I haven't made it that far yet. It seems like you do, though. I'll point that out. And so I think in potentially in this system you could do it as well if you wanted to. But from the looks of it, you definitely do come down to like planet surfaces and stuff as you get later into the game. So that's pretty cool, pretty neat. There's concept like companions and stuff as well, which we haven't explored yet. It's still too early in the game. But beyond that, I don't know, the game looks really good. It's the performance can, or the demand can vary a little bit. It has like FSR. I have FSR enabled. Go in the settings real quick. So the upscaler does help smooth out a little bit the performance demand. I noticed the FPS cap doesn't work. So I don't know. I like keeping the FPS caps on in games, so I don't have the GPU fans maxing out all the time. And if I'm using RTX voice to record stuff, again on a 1080 Ti, which is not an RTX card. I'm getting glimpses of where I'm supposed to go here. I guess there's like interference or noise, and it's probably this thing here.
Found it. It's infested with hydras. That could explain the weak signal. Cleared it.
Cool.
All beanbags are back online. You can see that. Our base marker is now everywhere but here. You can come back to base now. I found something that can make life a lot easier for you.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to base, and then I think we'll wrap it up there.
Station AI, do you link?
Yeah, out of the various space games I've played over the years,
And Dax.
you know, they've always interested me. No Man's Sky I found was pretty good after all the updates that they've done to it, and the updates they still continue to do to it. Because it's been less than a year since I last played it. Basically, whenever the mech update came out, I played just before that update, and I kind of stopped there. So I know since the mechs, they've done more stuff as well, but yeah, I like the idea of that game. It's just like, yeah, huge open world. You can get around pretty quick. It kind of gets repetitive after a while, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to just fly around and do whatever. And this seems like a game where you can absolutely do that. And looking at some of the Steam reviews, they kind of hint towards you might want to do that too and not progress too quickly, because the difficulty does start climbing up very quick. It feels like the kind of game where they encourage that anyways. They give you a lot to do. There's a lot of places you can go. There's a lot of stuff you can do. So I do like this like mild push or progression or sense of direction without explicitly being like a campaign and you're done. Beyond that, yeah, it doesn't have any multiplayer, which that brings in a whole different layer of complexity, especially for a smaller dev team, so I get it. I get that part. It came out early access January 2021. Here we are almost 2 years later. When it hit early access, it was fairly feature complete, but not fully. So being in development for 2 years is actually pretty good. I do appreciate games, you know, that come out mostly done, and the early access period is fairly short because they're just kind of wrapping things up, starting to look at player feedback to get ideas of if there's anything else to do. Yeah, let's do our armor plating. I guess we'll sell the old one. Got another mainframe component. Not too sure what I'm going to do with those yet. And yeah, if you want to get a wrap up on the story, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. But anyways, yeah, if you are interested in this, it's not a terribly expensive game. It retails for $40 US, or $31.49 or $51.49 Canadian rather. Bit of a weird price, but hey, it's yeah, it's not terribly expensive. And I think that's about it. I don't know, Everspace 2. Check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next week.